Now, I must admit I wasn't planning on doing a video today. I just thought I'd come up here into the man cave and go through some of my comic books I've been organised. And it was when I was going through these comic books, I decided it would be a good idea to do a video just showing off some of the nice artwork on the front covers of some of these comics. Now, I have seen a lot of videos on YouTube where people talk about the favourite comic book covers, but they always seem to be the same ones, the iconic comic book covers such as these. What I'm going to do today is just pick out some random comic book front covers, ones that you probably haven't seen before, ones that you probably have. But I think it'll be a lot more interesting than just seeing the same old iconic covers that we've seen a million times. Now obviously I've got quite a few comic books here. I've got this big box on top and then I've got another box underneath. So obviously I'm not going to be showing you every single comic book cover, I'm just going to be picking out my favourites, and then if you like this video, maybe we can do it again in the future because I've got plenty to go through. Okay, so first of all, I've got some Superman comics and I've got quite a lot of them. I didn't want to make this episode just about Superman, so I'm going to show you all these ones quite quickly. I'll probably just place them out on the desk here and run the camera over the top of them so you can see them all at once. But primarily, my collection consists of Superman because when they revamped the comic book in 1986-87, I think it was, that's when my collection started. With this one, the Man of Steel, and this on this cover says it all, doesn't it? You've got Clark Kent turning into Superman, you've got the Rocket escaping from Krypton. It's the start of the story, and I just absolutely love this cover. And it was a part of a 6-part miniseries, and each and every one of these I love just as much as the last. And then after the Superman 6-part miniseries, we went straight into Superman #1 in 1987, and the artwork was done by John Byrne. And I must admit, John Byrne is probably one of my favourite artists of all time. The only person who comes in a close second for me is Jim Lee, and I think they are very similar. I don't know whether Jim Lee took inspiration from John Byrne or not, but to me they are two of my favourite artists, and in my mind they are quite similar. I believe that John Byrne was the main artist on the initial Superman comic book run from 1987 to 1988, I think, and he was just amazing. Every single cover that he made was eye-catching and just outstanding. Another one of my favourite covers is Action Comics 591, where Superman travels to an alternate universe and meets Superboy. Now what I like so much about this is not only is the cover awesome, which I think it is, it's really unique to see these two characters on the same page, but later on in Superboy #8 they kind of recreate this cover, and I remember seeing this for the first time and thinking I've seen that somewhere before, and I dug this one out of my collection, and there's no doubt about it that they've took inspiration from this cover to create this one here, and I just think that's really cool. Okay, the next comic book is Superman Forever, and the main reason I like this cover is obviously because it's got this cool holographic image on it drawn by Alex Ross. I love Alex Ross's artwork. He really does capture a lifelike appearance of the characters which no one else has ever done. He is absolutely amazing. But like I said, the main reason I like this cover is because this comic book cover actually moves, it's holographic. Okay, so next we've got DC versus Marvel Universe. This comic book came out in 1996, I believe, and it was iconic at the time. It was an amazing event. I remember being so excited about picking this comic up because for the first time ever, well, the first time I'd ever seen it, DC was going to square off against Marvel. They were going to fight to save their own universe, and it really was. I remember to this day it was an exciting time to be a comic book reader. I was really excited to get this. And as you can see, on one side you've got the more important characters from the DC universe, and on this side you've got the Marvel characters as well. And I just think this cover is great. How often do you see Marvel and DC on the front page of a comic book? Now, spoiler alert. At the end of this comic book run, the DC universe and the Marvel universe was merged into one. One of my other favourite characters that I read at the time was Superboy, the clone of Superman. And at the end of this book, like I said, the universe merged and we got a hybrid character of Superboy and Spiderman. And that is one of the reasons why I really like this cover. It's extremely unique. How often do you see a Spider-Boy? It was a mashup of Superboy and Spider-Man, and it's something that we're likely never going to see again. I think they did a few issues of this. It didn't stick around for long, but this was the first issue, and yeah, I just really like that front cover, that mashup. It really is a attractive cover there. Okay, next we have the comic book adaptation of the 1989 movie Batman, and this cover is absolutely amazing. The way they drew Nicholson here, the way they've got Keaton stood there on the building, the gargoyle from the end of the film, everything on this cover is just filled with nostalgia, and I love it in every single way. I remember getting this for the very first time, reading it and then seeing the movie afterwards and realising that there are very minor changes in this comic book compared to the film, and that was quite fun to read along as you're watching the film go. I'm actually going to be doing an episode on this issue, talking about the differences between this issue and the movie, so look out for that. That will be coming very soon. Okay, next I have a few Marvel comic books, and I'm not a massive Marvel fan, I must admit, but I do like Spider-Man, I like Wolverine, and I like a few other Marvel comic book characters here and there. The first comic book I've got to show you is The Lethal Foes of Spider-Man. Now, I was attracted to this cover straight away. The only reason I bought this comic book run was because of this front cover. I thought it looked amazing. It is full of villains, and you've got Spider-Man there in the thick of it, and it's such an exciting, vibrant, colourful cover. How could I not pick that up? It is absolutely amazing. Now, the next comic book actually belonged to my uncle before it belonged to me, and they were kind of passed down. This is the Savage Sword of Conan. I absolutely love Conan the Barbarian. The first introduction to Conan the Barbarian would have actually been this comic book, but I didn't really take much notice of it until I saw the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. And then, obviously, I picked these comic books back up as a kid. And look at that. Look at the amount of action on that. Look at the blood coming off his axe. How cool is that? I've seen the blood coming off. And this guy here is just, like, met his grisly end. I love this comic book cover. It is really cool. And it's one that I always look at fondly when I'm going through my collection. But I'm not quite finished with Conan just yet. I've got this one as well. The Marvel Treasury Edition, Conan the Barbarian. This is a massive comic book. The cover on it is amazing. Once again, it catches that true dark tone of the comic book in one image. The way he's raising up his axe, getting ready to bring it down on someone's head. He really does look like a savage in this. The way he's raising his axe up above his head, ready to bring it down and to definitely blow up on someone, is all captured in this image, and it's absolutely stunning to look at. And next we have quite a similar cover actually in many ways, without the bloodlust, and that is The Mighty Thor. Now, the comic book itself has seen better days. It's been taped up on the spine, but it's a comic book I couldn't bear to get rid of. It's very old, as you can tell, and it's got this beautiful, beautiful artwork on the front, just showing Thor in all his glory, holding up his hammer, which is very, very small, may I add, and catching that lightning bolt. And that is just one, like the others, that I just look at very fondly when I'm going through the collection. Okay, last but not least, we have a mega comic book here. This is probably one of my favourites of all time. It's the Batman versus the Hulk. Just like the DC versus the Marvel Universe comic book I showed you earlier, here we have two iconic characters from both comic books on one page, and back then you didn't really see this that often. You saw it now and again, but not that often. And here we have Batman, a human being, going up against the Incredible Hulk. Okay, so I have a friend named Chris, and we have this ongoing feud on who would win if Batman and the Hulk were to fight. Chris thinks the Hulk would win, I think Batman would win, and that might anger a lot of you, but in my mind, Batman can win anyone. If Batman can go up against Superman and come out on top, and I believe Superman could beat the Hulk, which is also something else that Chris disagrees with me about. He doesn't think Superman could beat the Hulk, he thinks the Hulk could beat Superman. But I think if Batman could overcome Superman, then I believe that he could overcome the Hulk as well. In this comic book, I have got proof that Batman actually put down the Incredible Hulk. Okay, so for some reason in this comic book, the Joker persuades the Hulk that Batman is his enemy, and the Hulk charges at Batman and a fight starts. Now during the fight, as the Hulk is trying to rip Batman apart, Batman is doing a lot of acrobatics to get away from the Hulk, dodging his moves. Batman gets a few blows in, but obviously doesn't affect the Hulk whatsoever, so Batman has to change his tactics. So Batman realises that the only way to get Hulk down is to throw a smoke pellet and gas the Hulk. Unfortunately, Hulk is quite clever in this comic book and he holds his breath. So Batman delivers a very powerful kick to the Hulk's solar plexus, which surprises him. It doesn't hurt him, it surprises him, and the Hulk takes in a deep breath of the gas, and the Hulk falls unconscious. So in a way, Batman won the Hulk. But I'm glad to say they don't stay enemies for very long, as they actually join forces and fight crime. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed looking at a few of those random comic books that I picked out from my collection. I've got a hell of a lot more that I could pick out and show you if you like this video. We can always do another one. So until next time, take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.